Hello and welcome to our introduction for our horror film for film studies on Psycho. We're also going to do a short lesson on the musical score. So let's get right into it so you can get back to your movies and back to watching what you want. There's remarkable affinity with music and film. They go hand in hand. Even silent pictures had music. Now, sometimes it was supplied by the theaters or by the movie companies. Sometimes the theaters provided themselves. They have the same rhythm, qualities of rhythm and continuity. The importance of the musical score is it strengthens the emotional component of films. It can make the laughs louder. It can make the scares or the thrills stronger. Some think the music should not draw attention away from the film, but sometimes modern filmmakers let it dominate. It also creates structural rhythms. They stimulate emotional responses. And there's something called Mickey Mousing, where music is created for the action, where somebody's walking and they go din 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 din. Kind of that kind of thing's going on. The generalized scores, it doesn't really match the action, but it influences the mood. This is John Williams, the great John Williams, probably the greatest modern composer of film history, composing Star Wars. If you look at old films, it's probably Max Steiner, great composer of many of the big films that we're actually watching. So special functions of the musical score. It heightens the dramatic effect of the dialogue. When somebody says something very important, you get dun dun dun. It tells the inner story, what's going on. It provides a sense of time and place. A lot of times the music will go with if you're watching the 70s movie, you need 70s music, not, hip hop. Or if you're watching The Great Gatsby, you don't really need Jay-Z and Kanye. Yeah, that was confusing. It foreshadows events, it builds dramatic tension, it adds levels of meaning to the visual image. And then there's characterization through music. Peter and the Wolfings, certain instruments and music signal the presence of certain characters. Like Darth Vader here. Dun 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 dun. You know he's coming. You know it's Vader. He's there. Also, you have the late motifs, which are repetition of single musical theme to announce the reappearance of a character. They're still used, and they're kind of the same thing here. Triggering condition responses. Horror films today and action films even they kind of play a trick. There's this like low, almost inaudible like vibration, like noise that they play in the background that stimulates our heart rate. And with an increased heart rate, we get more excited and we get more fearful. And so that emotion runs deep, and it's kind of a trick that they use. Traveling music, that's a thing Paul Schaefer and David Letterman always used to like to do, traveling music. Providing important transitions, like, when you do a montage in Rocky films, setting the initial tone, and then there's the musical sounds as part of the score. There's the musical as an interior monologue. Music as a base for choreographed action. Then you get synthesized scoring too, kind of like Beverly Hills Cop and Thor Ragnarok, or even the Lego movie has kind of synthesized music now. And then balancing the score is tough to do. The Guardians of the Galaxy did a wonderful job of having music that kind of fit because of the mixtape, and it made it set the tone, it set the mood for fun and kind of an exciting film. Whereas Suicide Squad tried to do the same thing, but they had like four different songs in the first opening montage of 10 minutes, and it jumped all over in different types of music, and it was very confusing. So let's get to the American Film Institute top heart-pounding films. They don't have a horror film category. Horror films largely are looked down upon by critics. They're just kind of seen as blood and guts and gore and not really great cinema. That's been changing in recent years. Recently, horror is kind of coming into its own. It's bankable. It does well at the box office. And critics are starting to realize that these movies are really well made. So number one for the top heart-pounding films is Psycho, which we're watching. Number two is Jaws. Three, The Exorcist. Four, North by Northwest, the Alfred Hitchcock thriller. Silence of the Lambs, number five. Alien, six. The Birds, another Hitchcock movie, number seven. The French Connection, number eight. Rosemary's Baby, number nine, late 60s film. And then Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is Indiana Jones. Doesn't seem to fit too well. AFI does not have a top 10 for horror films, but I'm going to give you my top 10 horror film movies. And granted, I'm not a huge horror film buff. I'm not going to lie, I get scared, and I don't like to be scared. I'd rather laugh. But here's my list. Number one is Psycho. Number two is The Exorcist, only because it scares me so badly. I have nightmares because of that one. Get Out, the recent movie, is brilliantly done. I think it's a wonderful movie. Silence of the Lambs, Jaws, A Quiet Place, really well done. 28 Days Later, which is a zombie film. I've always enjoyed that movie quite a bit. The Thing, the 1982 John Carpenter movie with Kurt Russell, kind of overlooked, but a pretty good movie. The Shining, super creepy, Stanley Kubrick, and then The Omen. If you've never seen the original Omen trilogy, check that one out. It's very, very creepy. All right, Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It was based on a novel by Robert Bloch. It was inspired by the real-life killer from Wisconsin, Ed Gein. It stars Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh. The music was done by Bernard Herrmann, who was kind of Hitchcock's composer. What's unique about it is it's strings only. There's no percussion. There's no woodwinds. There's no brass. It's just strings, which is unique. And it just didn't work. Some of the screen tests until they added the music, and that added really a lot to the film. The film did really, really well at the box office. Hitchcock financed the picture himself, largely because his movie with just before this bombed, which we're watching, Vertigo. It didn't do well, and so he needed to bounce back. And so since he financed it himself, he filmed it in black and white to save money, and also to make it not so gory. Most of the film was shot with a 50 millimeter lens using a 35 millimeter cameras. That's technical term, so what it does is it mimics what we see in the human eye. The shower scene, which is one of the most famous in history, took a week to film. The blood was actually chocolate syrup. The censors almost didn't allow the scene because they thought they saw nudity, and then they rewatched it and realized they didn't. The movie also has movie actually helped break down the production code, the Hays Code. It has the first time in modern cinema that a toilet was shown flushing, not even using waste. It was just for some paper. This is considered one of the most iconic and scariest scenes in cinema history. It took 7 days to film. There's 77 different camera angles and 50 cuts, meaning edits, not cuts from the actual killing. Hitchcock always referred to Anthony Perkins on set, and he played Norman Bates as Master Bates because he's a funny guy. Hitchcock actually withheld the last part of the script until the end to guard secrets. He bought up as many copies of the book as possible. He didn't want the end of the movie to be given away. He bought the rights to the book for $9,000. He bought as many copies to keep it secret. This was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. The theme music was actually used by Busta Rhymes in his hip-hop song "Give Me Some More." So if you want to check that out, it's pretty good. Busta Rhymes, gonna throw out some props here. On AFI, is the 14th greatest film, was number 18 in 1997. It is the 4th greatest film score. This is the number 1 heart-pounding movie. Bates is the number 2 greatest villain. Boy's best friend is his mother's the 56th greatest movie quote. On Rotten Tomatoes, that has 96%. They shoot pictures, don't they? It's number 27. Entertainment Weekly is number 27. This is the 7th scariest movie of all time, according to Entertainment Weekly. It is on the Time Magazine list. It's on the AMC Film Site list. IMDb has it at a fan rating of an 8.5 with number 34 all time. For the British, this is 35 on the critics list and 48 on the director's list. Hope you enjoy Psycho.